These men quickly ran low on supplies. A massive effort was made to get food, ammunition, and medicine to the brave paratroops, but the number of transport planes proved insufficient for the task. Liberator units all over East Anglia were then loaded with supplies and flown over the Rhine area battlefields at under 1,000 feet, where they dropped their precious cargoes to the desperate men below. The Liberator's cavernous bomb bay turned out to be ideal for such missions, but flying the huge B-24 at such low altitude in the face of light and medium anti-aircraft guns could be exceedingly dangerous.
The American paratroops and glider forces really took a beating from German anti-aircraft fire. And when their resupply B-24s came in, they got hit by the same AA fire. And many B-24s were shot up going in that low. They were a huge target. They were badly shot up dropping supplies to the paratroops. And they lost a dozen B-24s with many more damaged on this mainly mission of mercy, something that the B-24 had never been designed to do, really. And it was one that inspired some bitterness among some of the crews.
As the war dragged into its final weeks, the Liberator played one last role, one in which it would be long remembered by suffering Dutch civilians. Allied air planners received word in the spring of 1945 that Holland was starving. Cut off from Germany, the Nazi-held sections of the Netherlands had run out of food and fuel. The entire civilian population was in jeopardy of starving to death. The 8th Air Force came to the rescue. The B-17 and B-24 groups swarmed low over Holland, dropping canned food, powdered milk, and sea rations by the ton on the grateful population. As the war ended, the 3rd Air Division's B-24s continued to fly these missions of mercy. Through their efforts, thousands of Dutch lives were saved. For the men who flew these supply runs, they were the most rewarding missions of the war, the ones they remember with the most pride.
They converted all our bombers. Every bomber that took part in the raid was converted. We put wooden platforms in the bomb bays, hinged them on one side on the bomb racks, and fixed it so the bombardier could, when he dropped, toggle the bombs. Instead of bombs, the doors came open, these wooden doors, and what we had stacked on the doors would fall out. The Dutch civilians had marked the fields where they wanted us to drop. They put a white cross. But I did hit the white cross one time. You know, it's kind of interesting because sometimes I can remember my commanding officer, his airplane, they were having trouble. The doors open, but the boxes didn't fall out. So they also furnished a long stick in the airplane so that the person, actually was a flight engineer, could take the stick and poke at things. So I can remember watching the commanding officer's airplane going around and one box at a time falling out. And I could watch, I remember one hitting a cow. There's a cow down there and the cow just turned over. I watched a couple go through the roofs of houses. That was home delivery. Just went right through the roof. But I tell you, the Dutch civilians really appreciated what I do. I think that to them now it's like a holiday, that they really celebrate the fact that we saved their lives.
With the end of the war, the B-24 disappeared from American service with surprising speed. Liberators in Europe were lined up by the hundreds in fields across England and Germany where they were summarily scrapped. The few that returned to the United States were quickly mothballed in aircraft boneyards in Arizona and Southern California. By late 1946, hardly a B-24 remained in flying condition. While the B-24 Liberator outnumbered all other American heavy bombers of World War II, its key role in the air campaigns against Germany and Japan has been eclipsed by the more popular and beloved Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress. Never a plane to generate much passion with its crews, the B-24 nonetheless formed the backbone of the 15th, 13th, 5th, and 7th Air Forces and flew on some of the most important missions of the war. Liberators dropped more bombs than any other American heavy bomber during the war, doing so while taking heavy losses from flak and fighters. Though it never became a true legend in aviation history as did the B-17 and the B-29, the Liberator served as the Army Air Force's most versatile workhorse. Said one Liberator pilot, "It was good enough to get the job done."